Hello, my name's JaKe, and I'm going to read from my book, which is called How to Speak Wookiee. There's some hip-hop playing in the background. It's called Bantha Beats, but I don't think we're going to play it all the way through. But it's good, don't it? Let's turn that down. So I'm going to read from this book I made. And it's an intergalactic translation book, and it's all about Chewbacca and his species, which are called Wookiees. And it has a little sound module on the front. And it teaches you how to speak Wookiee. So, firstly, it was made by me and Wookiee Smith. I'm going to read a little thing from the biography at the back before we get started. It says, Wookiee Smith is an expert on the Wookiee language and culture. He's the author of the Galactic News best-selling book, The Wookiee in the Tree. He splits his time between San Francisco, California, and Kashyyyk. JaKe, that's me, was born in Hull, in England, and was raised by Wookiees from a young age. He speaks the Wookiee language fluently, but with a northern accent. He now lives and works in London and would never use a cheap Jedi mind trick to make you visit him on Instagram and Twitter at JakeDetonator. Okay, so let's start. There's a little intro paragraph at the beginning. I'm going to read some of that. Are you all sitting comfortably? Then let's begin. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I didn't tell them about it. So we did this book. We did another book called How to Speak Droid with R2-D2, which features R2-D2. And yeah, and I know we talked about we'd do the Wookiee one first, right? Well, that's just rude. I'm not going to translate that. Can I get on with it now? Is that all right? You going to be fine with that? We'll maybe do yours another time. Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Let's begin. So, lack of communication, a Wookiee mistake. With intergalactic travel easier than ever, cross-species communication is an important part of everyday life for all citizens of the galaxy. Wookiees, a group that once preferred to remain largely on their home planet of Kashyyyk, have become a large presence on nearly every planet and space station across the galaxy. Doubtless, you're in a position where you encounter Wookiees on a daily basis. They are your neighbours, your colleagues, and your fellow citizens. No matter where you interact with them, one thing is for sure. Fitting in and keeping a low profile is definitely to your benefit in a Wookiee world. Wookiees have notoriously short fuses. If you say or do the wrong thing, you will make a Wookiee angry. So, how can you make sure that you'll walk out of a Wookiee conversation with all of your limbs intact? First, we need to learn to understand them. Wookiees hate to repeat themselves. Then, learn to respond to them in their language. Wookiees can understand foreign languages as well as any other species. But, due to their unique vocal cords, they can only speak their native language, which is called Shiriwook. Communicating with a Wookiee in his or her mother tongue will start you out on the right foot. This book will guide you through a few common scenarios in which you might have to speak to Wookiees. A sound module allows you to hear and practice correct pronunciation. Learning to understand and communicate this handful of phrases will impress your Wookiee acquaintances and keep you out of harm's way. So with that, which means turn the page and let's begin. So the first scenario is called In the Starship. Travelling on a starship manned primarily by Wookiees can be a tricky business. The difference between jump to hyperspace, which is and I'm feeling motion sick, can sound remarkably similar to the untrained ear. But with just a bit of practice, you'll be able to avoid unpleasant situations. So the first translation is turn right, and that goes like this. There's also translations for want to play holochess and stay on target. The second scenario is this one. On public transportation. So if you look in this one, everybody's cramped, either on the tube or on a school bus. There's a little Jedi there, and he's using a Jedi mind trick to make a Wookiee go to sleep, one that's been really irritatingly noisy. No one likes a long commute, especially not Wookiees. Getting through that cramped shuttle ride to the third moon of Tatooine for an early morning meeting can make for some strange encounters. Learn these common requests and start your morning off on the right foot. So the translation on this one is this seat taken? And that sounds like this. Three. In a meeting. Wookiees have to earn a living, so some of them have to go to the office. In office environments, Wookiees make for dynamic leaders and engaged colleagues. Impress your Wookiee boss by mastering a firm handshake and a few key phrases. Just don't shoot down any Wookiee business proposals unless you want to get shot down yourself, either with harsh criticism or a bowcaster. So the translation on here is, I'm on board with this strategy. And that sounds like this. Which is a tricky one, you've got to practice that one at home. The fourth scenario, in the cantina. Like most galactic citizens, Wookiees are fond of unwinding after work with a leisurely evening at the local cantina. If tempers run high, which they are likely to, there are a variety of common phrases that will help diffuse tense social situations. So one of these is, I love this band. But one of the other ones that might be more useful is, my mistake, let me buy you a beverage to make up for my foolishness. And that goes like this. Now, if you've all seen Star Wars, and I'm sure if you're watching this you have, in A New Hope, the first Star Wars, Luke talks about going to Tosche Station to pick up some power converters. So I imagine Tosche Station was like a giant shopping centre, or a mall, or a mall, because we're English and I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it. I can speak Wookiee, I'm not quite sure about mall. So that's what I imagined Tosche Station to look like, and it's got Helmets Are Us, and it's got a little food court, and Aunt Beru's selling blue bantha milk. It's where everybody hangs out on a Saturday. Planning to head into Tosche Station to pick up some power converters? You likely run into more than a few Wookiees on your next trip to your local shopping centre. Wookiees of all ages love to accessorise, and the mall is the perfect place to find those must-have ammo belts and more. Wookiee teens can be found socialising in the food courts and hologram stores. So this translation is, that really goes with your fur colour. And that sounds like this. The next scenario is at the restaurant. Wookiees love to dine out, and they have strong opinions about food. Their cuisine features a fascinating array of flavours, and it's always quite fresh. Read alive and kicking. If you don't want your dinner so rare it's practically still breathing, you'll need to communicate that to your waiter. Most Wookiee restaurants will serve vegetarians, but only when they're in season. So the translation's on here. Are you going to eat that? And that goes like this. There is a little R2 unit in there. You fine with it? Yeah, you're not saying anything now, are you? 7. At the art museum. I think this is my favourite one. Wookiees place great value on artistic innovation and self-expression. The work of several major Wookiee artists can be found in museums all over the galaxy, including in the Metropolitan Museum of Coruscant. All you need are a few key phrases to hold your own in artistic discussions with Wookiees. So if you wanted to say that's so postmodern, or perhaps conceptually ambitious and flawlessly executed, you could use this one. The next scenario is in the park. The forests of the Wookiee home planet of Kashyyyk are dense, lush wonderlands of trees and greenery. Wookiees living away from their homeworld love to visit city parks or forest moons to get a taste of the natural surroundings they find most comforting. Next time your Wookiee pals go for a stroll, why not ask to join them? Consider taking along a picnic lunch and making a day of it. So if you wanted to say, I've brought some sandwiches, you'd say it like this. The final scenario is all-purpose Wookiee. Communicating with your Wookiee acquaintances will get easier with practice, but that doesn't mean you won't have a few misunderstandings along the way. As you practice your new language skills, pay close attention to the facial expressions of your companions and watch out for these phrases, which may indicate danger. So if you hear something like this, yeah, that means he's not happy. That means cut that out. Or you are really making me mad now. There's one that says, I'm going to smash you now, but I can't even pronounce that one. It's too hard. So that is how to speak Wookiee. So now I'm going to show you how I draw Chewbacca.